2-3 दिन पहले रक्षा मंत्री जी के साथ भी और गोवा के जो मुख्य सचिव हैं उनके साथ बैठक हुई थी। सभी बैंकर्स वहाँ पे शामिल थे। गोवा ने एक प्रण लिया है कि सबसे पहला कैशलेस स्टेट बनने का, और उसमें मनोहर पर्रिकर जी ने एक तिथि भी दी है कि 30 दिसंबर तक ये कैशलेस स्टेट बन जाएगा। एक बड़ा पॉजिटिव कदम है, इसमें एक एफ़र्ट लगेगा और उस एफ़र्ट की तरफ मेरे ख्याल से पूरी गोवा की सरकार प्रतिबद्ध है और काम कर रही है। और साथ साथ मुझे खुशी इस बात की है कि ट्रेडर्स भी इसमें शामिल हुए हैं, सभी बैंकर्स इसमें शामिल हुए हैं, जो गोवा के सिटीजन्स हैं, जो गोवा में जो टूरिज़्म के लिए आ रहे हैं, वो भी सब इसमें शामिल हो रहे हैं। सभी के कलेक्टिव एफर्ट से ये कैशलेस हो सकता है। उस फिल्म बनने के अंदर एक पूरा टीम एफर्ट होता है। एक स्पॉट बॉय से लेकर जो फिल्म स्टार है वो सब काम कर रहे होते हैं। उन सब को उनके खाते में अगर पैसा जाए तो यकीनन उनको सही रेट पर पैसा जाएगा। मैं ख़ास तौर से जो स्पॉट बॉयज़ हैं, जो बिल्कुल जो लोएस्ट लेवल के जो वर्कर्स हैं, मैं उनकी बात कर रहा हूँ। किस रेट पे उनको काम दिया जाता है वो भी निर्धारित है और वो सही मात्रा पे सही रेट पे उनको पैसा जाएगा। वो जब काम करेंगे तो उनकी इंश्योरेंस होगी और एक तरह से जो पूरा का पूरा ये इंडस्ट्री है उसको और सपोर्ट मिलेगा, ख़ासतौर से जो न्यूनतम वर्ग के लोग काम कर रहे हैं। फिर उसके बाद जब फिल्म स्क्रीन पर आती है तो मुझे लगता है कि ज़्यादातर लोग आजकल ऑनलाइन टिकट खरीदते हैं, बुक करते हैं, तो वो तो पहले से ही कैशलेस हो रखी है। तो फिल्म इंडस्ट्री तो इसका स्वागत कर रही होगी और फिल्म इंडस्ट्री को इससे लाभ होगा। हर वर्ग जो उसमें जुड़ा हुआ है एक फिल्म को बनाने में, उसको लाभ होगा। गोवा में जो इंटरनेशनल फिल्म फेस्टिवल होता है उसका स्तर और ऊंचा हो। दुनिया भर में गोवा माना जाता है एज वन ऑफ द बेस्ट टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशंस, और उस टूरिस्ट डेस्टिनेशन के साथ साथ अगर फिल्म का महोत्सव भी जोड़ दिया जाए, वो भी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय है, तो वो सोने पे सुहागा है। तो उसके अंदर हर तरह से हम केंद्र सरकार इसमें मदद करने को तैयार है।
सर, बंद आज जो है कहा गया, प्रदूषण ने कहा कि बंद, लेकिन इतना देख रहे हैं कि यशस्वी बंद नहीं है पूरी तरह से। क्या कहना चाहेंगे इसके ऊपर आप?
ये नोटबंदी जो है और जिस तरह से काले धन की समाप्ति करने का एक बहुत बड़ा कदम प्रधानमंत्री जी ने उठाया है, इस निर्णय के साथ आज पूरा भारतवर्ष है और हर जगह इस निर्णय की सराहना करी जा रही है और सब समर्थन कर रहे हैं। उसमें कुछ लोग हैं जो अभी भी उसी पुरानी तरीके से जो अर्थव्यवस्था चलती आ रही थी, जिसमें एक पैरेलल इकोनॉमी चलती थी, जिससे पूरे देश को नुकसान होता था, उसको अभी भी कहीं ना कहीं समर्थन दे रहे हैं कुछ लोग। और एक उन्होंने ऐलान करा कि भारत को बंद करेंगे और उनको जल्द ही ये एहसास हो गया कि भारत बंद नहीं होने वाला, और उसके विपरीत लोगों ने एक और अभियान छेड़ा कि हम भारत के साथ हैं, हम प्रधानमंत्री जी के साथ हैं। तो उन्होंने उसको जल्द बदल के आक्रोश दिवस कर दिया, क्योंकि आक्रोश में किसी को बंद नहीं करना होता, अपना गुस्सा दिखाना होता है। वो गुस्सा पार्लियामेंट में दिखा रहे हैं, जहाँ चर्चा होनी चाहिए वहाँ चर्चा हो न रही। और मुझे लगता है ये सारी जो घटनाक्रम हो रहा है इसको पूरा देश देख रहा है और कहीं इसकी मजाक भी उड़ा रहा है, जिस तरह से कुछ जो विपक्ष के लोग हैं इसके ऊपर समर्थन ना देने के बजाय इसका विरोध कर रहे हैं।
When we make a movie related to independence and struggle or rebel, we expect to have some fighting scenes and action scenes, but he wanted not to use violence. He wanted not to use so many fighting scenes in the movie. What he focused was, what he wanted was to have only dialogue in such a way that it could explode the mind of the people. It could have such impact in the mind of the people. So to have this kind of thing, it was great to have that actors like Mr. Sangang Ho and the team. They were very good in the preparation of the movie, and the music and the background score and the sound was designed in such a way that it could compensate the fight and the action scenes with the dialogue.
그러니까 이제 음악 인도 관객 여러분들도 사실은 전혀 모르는 얘기는 아니라고 생각합니다.
and he believes that the content of the movie, which is of Milcham, is not a kind of strange experience to Indian people, because we also have similar experience in our country in the past. And he thinks that the movie is not going to be a movie which you have not seen in your life, because the story of the movie depicts about or says something about the independence fighting. And in India or any other countries of Asia also, we have been struggling to get independence from different countries. So if you see the movie, you will be able to correlate all of you, yourself to the movie, because you also have seen such independence fight in our country or other parts of Asian countries as well.
Some of them very good, some of them less good. And it was an interesting experience because the screening room was very cold. And we were sitting for 8 hours in the refrigerator. So maybe that influenced our judgment. It's a always very interesting experience when you see films from different countries all together. It reminds you how this world is so different in different parts, the cultures, the looks of people, the colors. For me, personally, that was like the reminder how this world is really very different in many places.
You know, on almost everything, of course, we all have different points of view. So from that point of view, it made the process more straightforward, simpler. And then we, of course, were faced with, as Yvonne said, 22 films, which were all very different in their own ways, and all offered, I think, something. I could almost say unique, you know, and from that gave us lots of talking points, but not in a drawn-out way. I think we most of the time were in kind of agreement on, you know, where we thought the best areas were and where the prizes should go. So the process became quite straightforward, I would say. And as Yvonne said, it was, you know, we saw a lot of films, mostly on average about 4 a day, and it's quite a lot of viewing and to keep your concentration. And it was actually very cold with the air conditioning, which doesn't help your concentration. But I think we were objective with everything that we saw, and I think we were very positive with our comments. And I hope that when you see the prizes that are given out, that you're in agreement by and large with the jury.
Not particularly different, because the one thing that I took away from this whole process was the fact that it was a wonderful working environment. I got along fabulously with them, not just while watching films or you know, while deliberating about it, but the fact that we had insanely long dinners that ended well past midnight every night and made the process of waking up early the next morning a little more difficult. But it was I could not have asked for a better set of people. And you know, in any film festival, there have to be winners, there have to be losers. It's the standard cliche, but when the working environment is fun, it just makes the whole process a whole lot easier.
So I think that would remind this experience with my red fair. I was wearing really fair, but it was such a warm atmosphere between all the members. and I found all the exchanges and the conversations so sincere and not theoretical at all, and totally, based on emotion and a sense of, deep inner cinematography feelings, not dogmatic at all, and looking just for emotion and mass storytelling. So that was really exciting.
If the pre-selection jury determined that it was good enough to be included amongst the 15 plus the other 7 films, then it's good enough to be there. So, I mean, everything else, my opinions and everything, will have to come after the awards function.
My film must give some kind of a positive energy to the people. मैं फिक्शन बनाता हूँ लेकिन एक पॉजिटिव एनर्जी में छोड़ के जाता हूँ, ये मेरी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है. फेस्टिवल्स की भी ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज हो और द पीपल, इवन वी, आई हैव लर्न सो मच फ्रॉम द फेस्टिवल्स. बीइंग सब तो स्टूडेंट ऑफ FTI के नहीं हो सकते ना, तो आम पब्लिक तो यही वर्कशॉप है उनके लिए 10 दिन की. दे मस्ट अटेंड. Public in general, all you media people must attend this, see best of the films. You will also grow as a critic. आप खाली इसको फेस्टिवल को ये मत देखिए कि इसमें त्रुटियाँ क्या हैं, इसमें गलतियाँ क्या हैं, ये नहीं ठीक हुआ, वो नहीं ठीक हुआ, उसने ये बोल दिया. Don't try to search the negativity. Try to make people aware how beautiful films are here. People must come and see the drawing rooms of the other people around the world. Let us talk more and interact more with the interactive session. I would like that if you put questions and I answer, it would be much better. Because I must know what you know first. If I go on speaking what you already know, you will get bored. You will want a tea break. Yes. So I think I should avoid a tea break in our conversation. So let's talk. When you are talking about a particular subject or you are talking about the general in cinema, if you are talking about the trend in cinema, trend is as good as a trend of centuries, trend of decades, trend of time, people, mankind, societies, values. So changing values, changing societies create new trend after every decade, after every 2 decades, 3 decades. And I personally feel one generation means 25 years to 30 years. So after every 30 years, there is a different people. New people are born who are grown up enough to think differently than the previous generation. So by generation wise, if you think as far as cinema is what? Storytelling. Stories, all the time stories. But stories have been told in a different devices, medium, different technology. Our best of the stories, in Indian stories, were told 3,500 years back, Ramayana. So have we improved on that? Are we capable enough to write a better Ramayana or better Mahabharata? So what we are talking about? What kind of trend? Are we the better thinker than the 5,000 years back we were? Are we better in wisdom, spiritualism, or narrating a story? I think my Nani was the best storyteller when I was innocent and ignorant enough. Even she was telling me bullshit story, I would love it. So when you make a fictional or non-fictional stories, as far as you impress audience, the current audience, that's called a trend. So there is no fixed method or formula. The storytelling and story listener, the relationship between story listener, movie goer, or a storyteller, movie maker, there has to be an ideal relationship that both think alike. And
to take part in it, everybody has been incredibly gracious to us and taken pretty good care of us. And the classes, my class, and actually I went to Robert's, were well attended, and the people seemed interested and asked many interesting questions.
It was a lot of fun. I've worked with Paul Feig, the director, on 3 other movies, and he's a very sweet man, and we have a very wonderful atmosphere on the set. We were blessed with 4 wonderful actresses who were just a joy to be around, constant laughing. And the way Paul likes to work is with a lot of improv. All the actresses come from comedy, and so he likes to just let them get into a scene, and all the other actors as well are come from improv comedy, and so the style of film is very different than most films because we shoot the script, but then the actors are encouraged to just take it in other directions, and we always run 2 cameras, one on each actor, or in different directions. We call it cross shooting. And, you know, we had people like Chris Hemsworth come in, who was a real sweetheart, and it was just a real fun shoot and difficult, you know, but at the same time, I think on set we had a lot of fun and a lot of laughs, which is always.
When you're answering questions in a situation like this, the students tend to ask very particular things, like how did you go about doing this? Not so much why, but physically how. They'd like to talk about the technology. And my class here was really, they were much more interested in the content, I think, and the emotional content, which is, when I do a movie, that's what I'm interested in, the emotional content. The equipment is just tools. Film, digital, I think it's just tools.
For me, having been here and spent time here, I just really enjoy seeing it and trying to get the vibe of Indian culture. It's a fascinating thing for me.
And for me, when I grew up in New York City, there were many, many places to see foreign films, but we don't get too many Indian films in America, I don't think. Certain neighborhoods, yes, actually, near where I live, there are a large Indian community, and I was kind of surprised to discover they run a great many Indian films, mostly without subtitles, I think. But I went to City College of New York, and Jim Ivory, who worked with Satyajit Ray, had gone to school sometime before me, and came one day to show us Patha Panchali. And we were just knocked off our chairs. Never seen anything like that. Years later, I was asked to work on a film that Jim did, produced with Ismail Merchant, of course, because they worked very closely together. And it was an American comedy based on a poem about a bohemian party in the 20s in New York in Greenwich Village. And they asked me to come in and make it move better. So I was working with Jim, and we were getting along very well, and he said to me, I said to him at one point, how is it that with your career in making really beautiful, slow-paced movies, why are you doing this film? It just seems so wrong for you. And he said, well, they asked me to. And I thought it would be interesting to see if I could make a party kind of a film, a very active film. And we worked together. We made it pretty good, but it never got much of a release. It was called The Wild Party.
Is in shorts. Shorts can cover, of course, a wide area of subject matter, from hard-hitting documentaries to animation to fiction. And sometimes there's an overlap. Sometimes there can be a documentary, but that the visuals are told through animation. Sometimes the fiction is inspired by a true story. So what I talked about here in the workshop or panel that Ramesh organized, and for which the festival organized, my participation here, is people do shorts for different reasons. And many feature film, somebody is very popular, many feature film directors, when they're successful and they're not hungry having to work on their next feature film, on their next whatever it happens to be, they go back to do a short film because it's like a writer. A writer writes a novel, and it doesn't mean that they go back, that they abandon the short form of a short story or a poem. It satisfies a different need for the artist, and some stories are best told in the short format. There's no need to drag them out too long. Of course, the issue with shorts is that, as was discussed in the previous press conference, distribution. That it's harder to find a place to show your short than there is often for a feature. The broadcasters aren't usually interested in showing shorts, that it's hard to find cinema chains that want to show a short before a feature. But all these things were things that I was successful at in terms of finding a home in prime time on a national broadcaster in Canada for shorts.
In the past few years, whenever I spoke about shorts, I mean, when we started speaking to each other, and both of us are looking, does shorts have a future? And when we came back here, I mean, the two people who were with us in yesterday's session, one was somebody from NFDC who only deals in features, and of course the person from Geo was there. And there is a future in shorts, but provided you make good shorts on good subjects.
मी खलनायकी भूमिका करतो, म्हणजे विलनच्या आणि पॉझिटिव्ह म्हणजे हिरोच्या. अर्थात माझं असं मत आहे की जे तुम्ही नसता ते करण्यामध्ये जास्ती कौशल्य असतं, आणि मला वाटत नाही की मी खलनायक आहे. त्याच्यामुळे मी जेव्हा खलनायकाची भूमिका करतो तेव्हा ती जास्ती समरस होऊन करतो, कारण मी त्याच्यात माझा अभिनय दाखवत असतो. आणि खलनायकी भूमिका ज्या मी केल्या आत्तापर्यंत, ते विरासतपासून देवदासपर्यंत, फरेकपासून ते देवदासपर्यंत, ते सगळ्या गाजल्या. मला वाटतं त्यामुळे त्याचा अर्थ असा होतो की लोकांना माझ्या खलनायकी भूमिका आवडतात, आणि त्यामुळे मी खलनायकी भूमिका जास्त करतो. तर डेफिनेटली मी आत्तापर्यंत जवळजवळ सगळ्या भाषेमध्ये केलं आहे, मॅक्झिमम हिंदीमध्ये केले आहेत. जवळजवळ माझे आता 250 पिक्चर झाले आहेत, त्यातले जवळजवळ 150च्या आसपास मी हिंदीतच केले आहेत. मराठीमध्ये त्यापेक्षा जरा म्हणजे कमी, म्हणजे 25 ते 30 केले असतील. बाकी तेलगू, कन्नडा, पंजाबी, बंगाली सगळ्या केल्या आहेत. कोकणी ही माझी जरी मातृभाषा नसली तरी माझ्या आईची मातृभाषा आहे, आणि माझी आई गोव्याची असल्यामुळे मला तिची कोकणी बऱ्यापैकी कळते. त्यामुळे कोकणीमध्ये जर फिल्म कोणी बनवली तर मला त्याच्यात अभिनय करायला नक्कीच आवडेल. फिल्म हा मीडियाच असं आहे की मीडियम डायरेक्ट तुम्हाला भेटतं, मॅक्झिमम लोक बघू शकतात, मासेसचं मीडियम आहे, त्याच्यामुळे फिल्म पर्सनॅलिटीज जास्त फेमस होतात. पण तरी तुम्ही हे बघितलं असेल की अब्दुल कलाम पण तेवढेच जनरेशनला आवडतात, पर्रिकर आवडतात, बरोबर, आपले सायंटिस्ट जे आहेत, म्हापसेकर वगैरे हे सगळी मंडळी लोकांना आवडतातच. म्हणजे तसं नाही आहे की तरुण जनरेशनला त्याच्याबद्दल माहिती नाही, पण मला वाटतं त्यांना प्रोजेक्शन जसं फिल्म स्टार्सना मिळतं तसं दिलं जात नाही किंवा मिळत नसावं. पण तरी मला वाटतं आत्ताच्या जनरेशनला डेफिनेटली या लोकांबद्दल तेवढीच माहिती आहे, आणि मला वाटतं हे प्रोजेक्शन जर चांगलं दिलं तर असे अनेक जे दुसऱ्या फील्डमधले मोठी माणसं आहेत ती पण लोकांच्या ओळखीची होती, नवीन जनरेशनच्या ओळखीची होती. आय फील दॅट ड्युरिंग अवर पीरियड टाइम्स देर वर नॉट सच अ various mediums were not available, like the social sites or even YouTube or all these things where you can directly get or Google, where you are directly getting all kinds of information from all over the world. So we had to go through books, we had to read books, we had to go to different libraries to get the knowledge. So there are so many other things we had to go in or we had to look for. So you are actually, the new generation is very lucky that you have got a vast knowledge available to you through different social sites, through YouTube, through Google. So I feel that you should make use of that. You should exchange your views with your friends, and try to concentrate on whatever you are doing. Like if you are interested in some field, then you should go in details in that field, and that's how I think you are going to really grow big in your whatever you are doing. Actually, if I had whatever 2 or 3 IFFIs I have attended, I feel I don't find any lack of anything in this particular organizing of the events. So basically, if you get more films, more local films also, more regional films, then it's going to be a bigger canvas. So organizing point of view, I don't think there is anything lacking. So I give full marks to whatever the organizers are doing, and the event is a great event here, and I find it equal to any international event. As I told you, there are various subjects available in our own country. So even if you tap so many different regions in our country and get so many different subjects and make films on that and show in the festivals, that will be a big that will be a great variety added on to this particular festival. If somebody comes from a film fraternity, if he has some filmy background, it's not his mistake. So if he gets a filmy background, then it's a great boost to him and an advantage to him. But once he is in this line, then he has to prove himself. There are so many people whose fathers or whatever, whose relatives were from the filmy background, but they could not succeed. Whereas there are people like, I won't give names, but there are people who are not having any such background, but they have also succeeded. So finally you have to prove your mettle. So once you are sure about your abilities, and if you are able to prove them, then any field, not just film, any film where any field where you don't have any background, what I could say, push from anybody, you can succeed in that particular field. हांव हाफ गोवन आसा, म्हाका कोंकणी उलोवंक येता, पूण I don't think I'll be able to give a long answer in Konkani, so I'll just tell you in English about this, or Marathi, whatever. Yeah. So I've written around 12 books, and out of which 2 books they have received awards. One book received best. One of the books called Anuvat. It received Best Literature Maharashtra State Government Award. And last book was with Uddhavji Thackeray. That was the Hawaii Mulugiri. That was on aerial photography of Maharashtra forts. And the one that I'm writing now is on Scandinavia. I've just recently visited Scandinavia, and I've written about Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland. And also I'm planning to make a serial on that.